Neville Goddard, The Power of Unlimited Imagination, Chapter 12, The Human Spirit. The Bible tells of the human spirit's never-ending struggle to assert its supremacy over the natural mind. Believing in the reality of the world outside, the natural mind rules sleeping man, while the human spirit is God in man, struggling to awaken and assert its supremacy over all. Do you have any bigger two sentences opening? Oh my gosh, a chapter, very powerful. I am all that is God right here. Self-concepts, we all are coming out from Him. We can be any of these self-concepts. These all represent the many states that we travel through. You could be here, you could be there, you could be rich, you could be poor, you could be wealthy, you could be not wealthy, you could be pregnant, you could be not pregnant. It doesn't matter. These are all states. They're all self-concepts that we adopt for ourselves to accomplish ascending, improving constantly. The Bible tells of the Spirit's never-ending struggle to assert its supremacy over the natural mind. Believing in the reality of the world outside, outside's out here. Believing in the reality of the outside world, the natural mind rules sleeping man, while the human spirit is God in man, struggling to awaken and assert its supremacy over all. Struggling to awaken means He made us in His image, lost Himself in us, forgot who He was, so we would go on and wake up realizing that we are Him. Struggling to awaken and assert its supremacy over all. That's what we're doing when we become conscious of the law and actually apply it. The poet Faust knew this when he said, "Two souls are housed within my breast. One to heaven doth aspire, and the other to earth doth cling." Wonderful. In the 25th chapter of Genesis, this struggle is told in the story of Isaac's two sons, Esau and Jacob. Coming first as outer skin and hair, Esau is recognized as your personality, while the smooth-skinned Jacob is your human spirit. We are told that when their mother, Rebekah, became aware of the struggle within her, she questioned the Lord, who told her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two people born of you shall be divided. One shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger." Your external world is known by reason of your critical faculties. Therefore, you can always discover the psychological state in which you reside by observing your thoughts of the day. Very, very important sentence. You can always discover the psychological state where you are, in which you reside, by observing your thoughts of the day. What are your thoughts of the day? What are you thinking? Remember, we're trying to observe our reactions. What's our reaction to the long line at the registers in the supermarket? Wow, I'm going to meet somebody new and I'll get to talk to somebody. Is that your reaction? And my mom, I can't go without saying this. My wife doesn't fail in meeting new people at the register in the supermarket. She can talk to anybody in any situation like that. She never meets a stranger. That's the way my teacher used to put it. My wife has that quality. She never meets a stranger. So what are your reactions? If the line is long, you're upset, or are you happy? You're happy to be here shopping in this wonderful store. Or the other side, if the line is short and there's no line, you walk right up. Are you happy because it's short? There's nobody there? Just pay attention. Just be aware of what your reactions are so you know what those thoughts are. What's the driving impetus that gets you to either feel good about your self-concept or feel not great about your self-concept? Is the long line a hassle? I mean, what are your thoughts that are driving however you feel? You always feel angry? In contempt? I hope not. Now, every state, but it's okay. The point is, we're trying to become aware so we can see what they are, our feelings, our reactions, our thoughts, so then we can make changes. It's the main driving point. Once you become aware of what your thoughts are, then you know that there's a recording going. It's like it's like the old tape recorder. You just press play. It's just going without even you don't even feel like you're in control. It's just playing. But now that when you're paying attention and seeing what you react to, whether you feel good or whether you feel bad, whatever it is, that should tell you a lot about what's going on in your day. And you can change all these. Now, every state has its limitations and restrictions. So here's a state where you're single, not married, not in love, not having a family. Here's one where you are. You're here. You want to be here. You already know you need to make an impression into your subconscious self, your subjective self. You need to make that impression. You need to kick back after that because the expression will happen. You don't have to worry anymore. There's no more work. As if that's work. Every state has its limitations and restrictions from which there appears to be no escape. If you believe you are the state in which you now reside, you will never be able to leave it. If you believe that you're single and not married and not in love, and that's just permanent fact, you are at a dead end. And you need to turn yourself around. If you remember Thin Lizzy, they had a wonderful song, Turn Yourself Around, Turn It Upside Down. It's a great song. Look it up and listen to it. Listen to the lyrics. Rock and roll, okay, Thin Lizzy, don't be afraid. But the lyrics really say turn around from that, because the state is not permanent. Your self-concept is not a permanent thing. It really is temporary, and you're always on the ascent. You're always trying to get to one that it feels like an improvement, that feels like you're going up. Repeating the sentence and then moving. If you believe if you are the state in which you now reside, you will never be able to leave it. But the story of Esau and Jacob tells you there is a way of escape and how to accomplish it. Esau exists in your mind as the outer world of fact. Esau exists as the outer world of fact. Right here. This is Esau. Jacob as the inner world of imagination. That's right here. This is all consciousness. When you have your eyes closed, you're thinking about your subconscious. When your eyes are closed, you're in your subconscious self. When your eyes are open, they're in your conscious self. This is what your senses are showing you, is this conscious side of this. Remember, we have a conscious and a subconscious of each self-concept. Giving that a little bit more. The conscious is the positive symbol here, the plus symbol. The subconscious is the negative symbol. And each self-concept has that. The conscious, aware you, sees with your senses what's going on in your reality, in your 3D world. The subconscious doesn't see that. When you close your eyes and you go and you close the door to your closet, you go in and you're doing your I am, you're here in your subconscious. That's where Jacob is. Esau's out here in the world. You could consider Jacob to be what you see here as well. But when he says out in the world, I always want to say it's out there. Esau exists in your mind as the outer world of facts. So let's go with this, okay? Because it's in your mind, so that means it's here. Jacob as the inner world of imagination. That's here. As their father, you have the power to give either son the right of birth. Remember, these are both happening in you. Every character of the Bible is in you, all right? So that's why we're not going anywhere else. We're talking about Esau and Jacob's you. As their father, which is what you are, you have the power to give either son the right of birth. Always seeing from where you have placed your attention, you are called upon to blind yourself to the outside world by drawing your attention from it. Then deceiving yourself by imagining the world as you want it to be. We talked about that. Go in there, go to the closet, shut the door, pray to your Father, right here. This is done by closing your eyes to the so-called facts of life and turning your thoughts inward. Now, clothe your thoughts in the feeling of reality until they are just as solid and factual as those known to you by reason of your outer senses. So when you close your eyes, you're in your closet, the door is shut, and you're trying to feel what you would feel if you were experiencing walking down the aisle. You're waiting for your bride. She's coming. Or you are the bride and you and your father are walking. Remember, all this is happening in you. It can't happen out here until it happens in here. So this imagining we're doing right this second is the creation of that event. Back to your event. You're walking down the aisle. You're taking your time. You're in a pace. Your fiance is there with his best man. You and your father are walking down this aisle. Remember, your father's here. This imagining is easy to do. You don't have to rely on your father in the physical world for this. You could be alone in this world with no family whatsoever. So we're back. We're in our imagining. We're walking with our father, and even if that's a friend, all the way to the spectrum of being your actual father, it's all good. In your imagining, you can even use your father if he's not with you. So you're walking, you got your pace. Maybe you're at the Elvis drive-thru in Vegas. I don't know. Who knows? But you're there. You meet, you're at the altar. You're with the preacher, the minister, the rabbi, whomever, whatever it is, and you go through the process. But once you feel that pace of walking, that pace of walking sure feels comfortable. This is you imagining, creating the fourth dimensional image, making the impression, which we just did. That literally was how simple it was. That is all we're talking about doing here. Every impression you make by doing what we just did right there is a valid impression. You'll know when it's done when you feel it's done. You'll do that maybe once, maybe 99 times. Whatever you have, whatever kind of fog you have to punch through, when you feel it's done, you'll know it. You'll know, oh, this is done. I don't have to focus on this anymore because I know it's coming. I know the cake is baking. Boom. I know it's in the oven and I don't have to worry about it anymore. Clothe your thoughts in the feeling of reality until they are just as solid and factual as those known to you by reason of your outer senses. When this is done, you, Isaac, the father, have given your son Jacob the right of birth. Now, who's Jacob? Esau is you going in your closet, shutting your door to the senses. This is Esau. Excuse me, I don't want to get this thoroughly confused. But the point is, let me get to the main point. While you're right here imagining walking down the aisle, this is Jacob performing the act of retrieving the venison. The tasty venison is the event of you walking down the aisle. That's Jacob doing that because our eyes are closed. Esau's at rest. Our eyes are closed and Jacob is performing this act. Isaac, given your son Jacob the right of birth. When this is done, you, Isaac, the father, here, have given your son Jacob the right of birth. Birth, you made the impression. That is the right of birth. Birth is your conception, becoming objectified, becoming your reality. You don't need to go on the dating apps. You don't need to do anything else. You just make this impression and watch the bridge of incidents unfold. You're not going to believe who's going to be the one. You're not going to believe it. It's just going to be like, oh, I've known you so long already. How come it doesn't matter. We're here now. Bam. You change in consciousness and watch it unfold. This outer world stuff isn't going to cut it. It's not. Don't waste your time, effort, money, thoughts, energy, whatever. Until you make this change, that's not going to objectify. And we're talking about permanent change here. We're talking about making the change you want to experience. You have to experience it first. As Jacob, you, the father, Isaac, bless Jacob. That's the imagined walking down the aisle. You, the father, Isaac, bless Jacob in that event. And then the objectified reality. Your objective world is always reflecting your inner subjective state. Therefore, it is impossible to change your outer world until you have changed your inner subjective state. Knowing the state you want to occupy completely Completely absorb yourself in it as though it were a sponge and you the water, capable of entering and being absorbed by it. Lose yourself in the feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment, so that when you open your eyes and Esau, the world without, returns. Lose yourself in the feeling you're walking down the aisle of satisfaction and fulfillment. You just feel completely happy, relieved, so that when you open your eyes and Esau, the outer world, returns, you know you have given his birthright away. You know you have given his birthright away. You've given it from Esau. You took from Esau and you gave it to Jacob. You did that here. You gave Esau's birthright to Jacob. You gave the birthright of Esau as Isaac, which you are. You gave the birthright blessing of of Esau. You gave that to Jacob, your imagined event. Although you've been self-deceived by imagining the state to be real, you have given it the power to be born. And don't even be confused. Well, I was just doing that with you. I was bolstering how I felt on the beach with my bride-to-be when we got married. I was giving that energy from here. And we're going to get into that video later. Revision is one thing, changing the past, but you can also bolster the past from your current state, your current position. We're going to get into all this fun stuff. While I'm imagining with you right now, just to give you the complete picture, I'm going into my actual wedding event, seeing what I did there and feeling good in my present moment right now, which is sending energy to that event. Now that event right now is a memory, but right now when I feel good and I look back on that memory, I'm bolstering how good I felt that day. So I have this overwhelming sense of joy that day. Where's it coming from? I remember the day very specifically, but in that day, yourself then is like, I don't know why I feel so good, but I feel really good right now. So this is how this works. There's always a constant interplay back and forth. Although you have been self-deceived by imagining the state to be real, you have given it the power to be born. How is it going to come about? I do not know. Only your Father in heaven knows. For he has ways to make your desired state alive, and his ways are past finding out. Now, there is an essence in you that is sound asleep and must be awakened. Everything to do with everything to do with what we're doing together is about awakening that sleeping self. That sleeping self. I just rewatched a movie recently, Oblivion, with Tom Cruise, and it is very much about this very subject. Oblivion, I watched the movie, and I have to put this in here because this awakening idea. The first character, I think it's character 49, Tom Cruise's character, and he is asleep, just doing his duties every day, throwing out the trash cans every week, throwing out the trash bins, bringing them in, putting them out, bringing them in, putting them out, routine. But he has this sanctuary stashed away from his partner that he goes to, and he has his record player, and he plays Led Zeppelin in there, and he's imagining baseball or football or what have you. Then he starts to meet these other creatures, and everybody's seen the movie, so I'm not spoiling. And if you haven't seen it, pause it, go watch it, come back if it's a spoiler. But he meets this other self that is just like him, also asleep. But in meeting that other self, character 49, meeting number 52, character 49 is waking up. Character 49 is waking up and realizing there's a bigger picture. So some drama happens, and there's a rebellion, and character 49 is involved with it, and it's all about, it's Adam and Eve. This whole story is about Adam and Eve. It's about you and me. It's about Esau and Jacob and Isaac and Rebekah. All these stories are woven in, but that story, that movie, if you look at it with a good enough squint, you'll see these ideas at work. You see the oblivion means to be asleep. And you see the idea of what happens at the end of the movie is to be awake. And then to do, number 49 did his part So number 52 could perpetuate perpetuate with the bride. And if you look at it from that kind of idea, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a very, very good movie. There's a lot of times Hollywood really pulls the rabbit out of the hat, but you have to look with perspective. There is an essence in you that is sound asleep and must be awakened. When you give Jacob the power you have given Esau, watch. When you give Jacob the power that you have given Esau, watch. When you give Jacob the power you have given Esau, watch. You will discover Esau will no longer react violently, but will become passive. Then you will know that you have brought about a reversal of order. As you are aware of being Jacob, you will persist in seeing what you want to see and experiencing what you want to express, thereby awakening your true essence to the truth that the world and all within it is yours. You're waking up as Jacob. Your subconscious impression as Jacob, you're imagining, that fourth dimensional imagining is waking up. And where does it wake up? Right there. It becomes objectified. Let me repeat. As you are aware of being Jacob, you will persist in seeing what you want to see. That's your focus. And experiencing what you want to express, thereby awakening your true essence to the truth that the world and all within it is yours. You are the Rebecca the Bible tells about, and you are constantly bringing forth your Esau and your Jacob, who are forever at war with each other. That's the you of the senses and the you not of the senses, constantly at war with each other. The elder is the world you know by reason of your critical faculties, while the elder is Esau. Jacob's the younger. The elder is the world you know by reason of your critical faculties, while the younger is the one you know subjectively. Subjectively means when you go to sleep. The person you want to be is struggling for birth. The desire you want to express is struggling for birth. As long as you look at and accept the outer world as the only reality, you will never give birth to your fulfilled desire. You must. There's Neville using the word must. You know what to do. Listen up. You must turn your attention inward and subjectively appropriate your objective reality. Turn your attention inward and subjectively appropriate your objective reality. Turn your attention inward and subjectively appropriate your objective reality. This part here is automatic, no effort involved. I heard a phrase: you put the coin in the jukebox, put a quarter in the jukebox, and you get to play to the tune. You get to dance to that tune. All you got to do is drop the quarter. You drop the quarter in the jukebox, and the tune plays. There's no effort by you right here. You get to dance. You just have to drop the quarter. Subjectively appropriate by dropping the quarter, imagining lovingly for yourself and what you want to express as your desire, whatever that is, and watch it unfold. The song will play. You just have to do this one time, and just do it with pizza, do it with a parking space, do it with a cup of coffee, do it with the special colored butterfly, climb a ladder. Just do it once. Do the simplest, smallest, least thing so you see it work. When you read the 25th and 27th chapters of Genesis, remember, all the characters recorded there are in your mind. Although unmarried, you are always giving birth to twins. The world in which you live is the outpicturing of your state of awareness. That state is your first son, which must be supplanted by your second son. Must be supplanted by your second son. Or desired state. Throughout the Bible, you will find there's always a second son who replaces the first. Jacob supplants Esau. Jesus supplants John the Baptist. And the human spirit supplants human matter. When you know what you want, define it as vividly as you can. Then, blind yourself to your externalized state by sending it hunting. How do you go hunting? You go in the closet, you shut the door, you shut off the senses. I am, some breathing, some breath, slow down, bring everything in tune with itself. Now you're bringing your Esau and Jacob to a conversation. You're bringing them both to a comfortable chair. You're putting Esau in the most comfortable chair or hammock that's available just by doing the breathing. Esau's chilling out. Now Jacob is coming to the table. Esau's got the chair reclined. Jacob's reclined. Now we got a meeting of the minds. Now Esau is chilled. Now Jacob can frolic. Jacob can imagine. Jacob can express his desire and go, you know what I've always wanted to do, Esau, now that you're listening? Esau's like, yeah, what is it? What is it? I want to know. Please, I want to know. Back to Oblivion, number 52 supplanted number 49, if you're following along. Okay? The conversation happens and Jacob conveys to Esau what he really desires. I've always wanted to paint. Esau's like, paint? I think that sounds interesting. Painting. Wow. I'm always fascinated by colors. Very interesting. And then this starts to move the needle. Jacob just told Esau in a meeting, a specialized conference, what he really wanted to do. And Esau said, that's interesting. I've always been amazed and fascinated by colors. Now Esau has this idea, kind of like the movie Inception, but not that dramatic, but better. Esau wakes up with the idea through a dream or through that communication of closing the door in meditation. Now has the desire, I'm going to get a paint by number set or whatever, some paint. I'm going to take a class. I'm going to go to that wine Wednesday where they have wine and they get together and they paint at the bar. I'm going to do one of these things because that just sounds like fun. I have a friend who does that, and she has wonderful paintings in her front room. They're all great paintings that they did as a group. You go there and you have a glass of wine and whatnot, and you paint and they follow the instructions. And what a wonderful expression of color. Amazing. But here you've had Jacob express to Esau this idea that he's always had this desire. When you know what you want, define it as vividly as you can. Then blind yourself to your externalized state by sending it hunting. You cannot touch your second son, which is Jacob, until you do, your second son being your cherished idea. This is accomplished by turning your attention away from all thoughts of denial. I know I jumped the gun. I have a way of doing that. It's just all of it wants to come out at once. This is accomplished by turning your attention away from all thoughts of denial and clothing your desire with the skins of reality. In his Ode to a Nightingale, Keats wrote, "My heart aches and a drowsy numbness pains my sense, as though of hemlock I have drunk." Having felt the reality of his experience so vividly, when he opened his eyes, Keats asked, "Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music. Do I wake or sleep?" It is with this kind of intensity that I would ask you to clothe yourself as you feel yourself already the person you want to be. In your meeting, when you go into your meditation, you're meeting your desire from your Jacob. You are Esau, closing off Esau. Now you're Jacob, communicating your desire, the kind of intensity we want. I would ask you to clothe yourself as you feel yourself already. You're already doing the painting. What does it feel like to hold the brush? What does it feel like to play with the colors? What does it feel like to blend colors? What does that feel like to just play with it? Now you're Jacob in this meditation. Now stretch out your imaginary hands and touch the objects there. You're touching the paintbrush. You're touching the palette. You're touching the paints. You're opening them. Listen, and you have none of these objects. You're doing this here. Listen with your imaginary ears. See with your imaginary eyes. Walk in your imaginary world as you taste and smell the objects. The objects there. Your creative power can be used for anything, be it a fur coat or a new hat. It is my hope that you will use it for some noble state, such as greatness in your chosen profession, whatever that may be. Let us look at the 38th chapter of Genesis and the story of Judah and Tamar. Judah means praise, and Tamar means a desired state, a palm tree oasis. As Tamar, you thirst for your desire. Give it to yourself by going into your desired state and making it real by becoming one with it. Feel the sense of satisfaction that your prayer has been answered and you are the woman called Tamar and the man named Judah. You will find another account of twins in the 48th chapter of Genesis. This is the story of Manasseh, which means to forgive, and his brother Ephraim, which means to affirm. Manasseh, forgive, Ephraim, to affirm. One is negation and the other affirmation. When you take your attention away from your problem by affirming its solution, just your attention from your problem. Just doing that is affirming its solution. Just by taking take your attention off of it and go and look at anything else. Don't look at the problem. The problem is momentarily forgotten when you take your attention away from it. We're stimulus response creatures we are. In our senses, in our Esau, we are stimulus response creatures. I don't have my keys here, but I would just jingle keys and it was like, oh, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? The bell rang and you're like, oh, I have to do this routine. I hear the trash truck, so I must march out there like an automaton, responsible that I am. It's the trash cans just remind me of time. I know time doesn't exist, but it's like, I just put this thing out, didn't I? Didn't I just put this out? What happened to the... It is trash day today, and in fact, I put it out a little while ago. When you take your attention away from your problem by affirming a solution, the problem is momentarily forgotten. Persist in your affirmation, not in repetitious form, but in feeling. As you feel the solution, the problem dies from lack of attention. Just by feeling the solution to your problem, remove your concern from your problem, remove your concern from the world, don't look at the world, remove your concern from the outer senses and feel that solution. Just feel the solution. If you have $1 in your bank account, $1 million is the solution, for sure. What does it feel like to have $1 million? Well, how does it feel? I go to my computer, I start pressing the keys, all of a sudden, I transfer everything to the mortgage, or I pay a year's rent, or I pay a year's utilities in advance. It's just the same thing you would do on the computer if you pay another utility. Why can't it mean the same thing here? It feels the same when you pay off your complete mortgage, when you pay off your complete electric bill, you pay off your complete water bill. It's the same feeling, each one of them. So how do those feel? You got $1 million. How does that feel? Well, it feels this easy. It feels so easy. Now I'm going to go just pay these things off. Bang, bang, bang. All your computer strokes are done. Your keys are pressed. The enter button is done. Everything's paid off. That's how it feels. It feels as natural as it would paying off anything else. That's how it feels. Turn away from the problem. Look towards the solution with feeling. Feel yourself at the computer. As you feel the solution, the problem dies from lack of attention. This teaching is not for the complacent, but for the human spirit who hungers and thirsts after right thinking. This is right thinking. What we're talking about is right thinking. As we are told in the 5th chapter of Matthew, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Boom. If that's not an explosion in your ears, I don't know what is. 5th chapter of Matthew, blessed are those who hunger. If you're finding these videos, and they're definitely turning you on, or my voice, or the enthusiasm, or the desire for you to know this, or you to know this, okay? That's hunger. If you're waking up realizing that Neville and everything he's teaching is valuable to you, that's hunger. You have been very hungry and very thirsty for a while. If this is resounding, because it resounded in me when I discovered it, and nothing can stop me from getting more. So I just rode my bike, like I said, and I just listened to those lectures over, and I read the books, listened to the lectures. I couldn't get enough. I still can't get enough. My favorite thing. I've been in this kind of focus for 33 years. I've just had to know more. In my original beginning with my teacher, I would look at her, we would go over in a class and she'd use the chalkboard. She had a chalkboard. She'd use the chalkboard and I would look at her from behind, and I'm 25 years old and I'm looking at her going, how does she know all this stuff? And I asked her in my first consultation with her, I said, how do you know this? Because it blew my socks off. She just said to me, I learned it. And I also give classes. And that was my first consultation, getting some information about me. Then when she said she taught it, I said, sign me up. I gotta know. If you're coming here with that same kind of thirst and that hunger, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness. Righteousness is this. Righteousness is knowing this process. For they shall be satisfied. Awaken the Jacob in you by observing your thoughts uncritically. Think of yourself as two beings. One who sees with the organs of sense, your conscious, and the other who sees through the mind of imagination, your subjective. The man of sense is a creature of habit. I must take the trash bins to the curb. That is not just a habit. That's actually a duty, a responsibility, etc. It would start to stink around here. I don't want to do it. The man of sense is a creature of habit. As I was saying, where we are stimulus response beings, I think we have this power of habit that's incredible. The man of sense is a creature of habit. He is dynamic and active, yet through the daily practice of self-observation, listening to your reactions, through the daily practice of self-observation, he can be brought into a passive state and his power transferred to the man of imagination. Esau got into the hammock, got into the easy chair and sat back while Jacob came to the table as well. He can be brought over. He can be brought into a passive state and his power transferred to the man of imagination. Jacob, Esau. Esau can be brought over. To me, that's what the symbol means, the yin and yang symbol. I just haven't, I've always had the idea of the white side of that, it represents the day, and the black side represents the night, conscious and subconscious. And this is also then Esau and Jacob. There are always two decided outlooks on the same world. For example, the one you see with your outer organs and the one you know only mentally. Your desire is mental without shape or form. It is your second son who will supplant your present world when your power of awareness is turned within. Do you have a longing? A consuming desire that you want fulfilled now? Allow that desire to clothe your mind. Knowing that its fulfillment is based upon feeling, ask yourself what the feeling would be like if your desire were now realized. Ask yourself the question, what would it feel like right now if my desire were, if I was fulfilled and my desire were realized? Right now, how would I feel? Whatever your problem is, its solution is, whatever your problem is in this Objective reality, your solution is within you. Remember, the desire comes in to within you with its own solution baked in. The desire to be here to solve your issues, your problems, your challenges, your limitations, they're all self-conceived. They're all self-believed. They're not real. They're only real because of the limitations of what you adopt when you adopt this self-concept, the one you adopted. So this is the one you adopted. You can adopt this one. You can adopt this one. This one's available. They're all states. They're all temporary placements for you to inhabit, but you can change from one to any of them. Each one of them has its own illusion of limitations. Whatever your problem is, its solution is within you. Turn your attention to your desires' fulfillment and clothe it in the skins of objective reality. This is the technique of reversal and should never be taken lightly. Because the moment you feel yourself into a state, you instantly take upon yourself the fruit of that state. I hope you now know how to clothe your subjective longing. Think of your desire as Jacob, then clothe it in the skins and hair of Esau. Feel what it feels like, your desire to be real. You're only going to do that with and at your present self-concept. This is the location. Any of that's going to happen. When you feel something real, it's only here that it happens, at this self-concept. It doesn't happen over here. This is a different location. You're here, meeting with Jacob, feeling it to be real, bringing it over here, clothing the feeling. You're clothing the feeling. Think of your desire as Jacob, then clothe it in the skins and hair of Esau. The time it takes for your longing to materialize is proportionate to your feeling of its naturalness. There is Neville saying right there, how long does it take to manifest something? Why is it taking so long to manifest my SP? Why is my SP not calling me back? Why is he or she not texting me back? Etc., etc., etc. The time it takes for your longing to materialize is proportionate to your feeling of its naturalness. How soon can you feel it real? That's how soon you're going to be in a relationship. And the many times that Neville told these women, it can't be that man. What if he's a murderer the next day? What if he's found guilty of robbery and murder and he's going to be in prison forever? It can't be that man. And they'd say, yes, I want that man. And then he'd imagine lovingly for them, and they'd always typically be marrying somebody else. He'd be at their wedding, and they'd be walking down the aisle looking at him, and he'd be looking at them going, I told you, as they're walking to do their vows. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Humanity cannot enter this kingdom, but your imagination can when you detach yourself from that which you are now attached. There must be a separation. For only the human spirit is called, and only the human spirit can pass singly through this eye. Capital I in quotes. Now, that which requires a state of consciousness to produce its effect cannot be affected without such a state. Once you have entered a state, don't be concerned about how it will be externalized, for everything comes into being through consciousness. You never create a state. All states were created before the world was. In my Father's house are many mansions. I go and I prepare a place for you. That is a state. I go and prepare a place. Feel it real. If it were not true, I would have came and told you. But since you made it real by feeling it, you're going to that mansion whether you like it or not. You will be arriving. You never create a state. All states were created before the world was. Rather, you enter a state and it simply displays itself. Enter the state of poverty by saying, I am poor. And you will see its evidence displayed on your screen of space. You do not generate health, wealth, and happiness. You do not generate health, wealth, and happiness like this group out here would love you to believe. Here, you're driving stakes for the railroad all the live long day. You can now start laughing at that because that is not the truth. You do not generate health. You do not generate wealth. You do not generate happiness. The states are already there, completely furnished and ready for your immediate occupancy. Isn't it great when you go into a hotel and you upgrade? You just upgrade, and you're like, it's like a whole new land. You're like, wow, wow. Oh, look over here. Oh, look over there. You just do the upgrade because you deserve it. And you're like pretty amazed at the space and the quality of things. That's you discovering how the law works. Once you feel it real and you start to experience your upgrades, whatever they are, your upgrade could be simply becoming something. It doesn't be, have, do. What do you want to be? What do you want to have? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to have? Who do you want to do? It doesn't matter. He, what, how, what, what are the 5 W's? Whatever. What do you want to be, have, or do? All of these are possible when you start to feel it real. Those are your upgrades. You're always trying to ascend. It's okay. Permission's been granted. The states are already there, completely furnished and ready for your immediate occupancy. My words are true, but truth by itself can do nothing. It must be applied. Unapplied truth is like a lamp without oil, but applied truth is a lamp whose oil never runs low. Remember, there are no accidents, no cause. Well, applied truth is a lamp whose oil never runs low. When you start applying this and becoming these things, you realize there is no lack of oil anymore for your life. Your abundance, it locks in because you've been the creator the whole time. But in the previous sentence, if you enter the state of poverty by saying, I am poor, and you will see its evidence displayed on your screen of space. Do you ever ask yourself what got you to think that? Was it something out here? Was it something? Was it something on that little wonderful box that was probably the greatest invention ever made? Has a little dial right there. A little box that displays imagery. Did that get you to think that? The I am poor concept? No? Maybe a friend. Maybe a teacher. Somebody you respect. Somebody that was teaching you something at one time had that certain attitude of mind that they had or whatever. And you glean that because you think to learn from this person, I must adopt all these beliefs. Well, as you were just told, unapplied truth is like a lamp without oil, but applied truth is a lamp whose oil never runs low. Once you apply this truth, your lamp will never run low. There are no accidents. Remember, there are no accidents. No cause other than an imaginal one. If an accident is fatal, it is an involuntary suicide. Are we not told, no one takes my life, I lay it down myself? I have the power to lay it down and the power to take it up again. An accident is not a force external to the individual's consciousness. No one knows a man but the spirit of the man who dwells in him. And man is simply the sum total of his reactions to life. No one comes into your world save you call him. I could expound on this right here for at least another hour to 15. Just that one paragraph or that last couple sentences. But I want to keep moving. We have more chapters. But there's a lot right here. I would say this is immediately my favorite part because it's highly responsible and it's probably the most controversial parts of learning that you create your own reality, or imagination creates reality, imagination which you have. It's one of the hardest blocks to accepting that as a truth is there are no accidents. I'm going to repeat the whole thing because it's very important. I promise you. This is one of those pills. This is the red pill here. It's not easy to swallow this one. There are no accidents. No cause other than an imaginal one. If an accident is fatal, it's an involuntary suicide. Are we not told, quote, no one takes my life, I lay it down myself. I have the power to lay it down and the power to take it up again. End quote. An accident is not a force external to the individual's consciousness. An accident is not a force external to the individual's consciousness. No one knows a man but the spirit of the man who dwells in him. And man is simply the sum total of his reactions to life. No one comes into your world save you call him. Man, my immediate favorite part of that entire chapter. What a great one. Wow. He's picking up pace. I notice in his books, he just picks up this grand pace. It's a crescendo happening. Chapter 12, the power of unlimited imagination. This is chapter 12, the human spirit. We'll see you in the next chapter.